Right, so I'm doing a 4-egg mixture. I've got my 4 eggs here. My flour's already weighed out. It has been sieved. You could sieve it at home just to save you a bit of time. And it's already got baking powder in it. And I've got my margarine and sugar in my bowl here. Okay, and also we talked yesterday as well about with Swiss roll how to test if it's cooked. And so you have to see if it springs back to the touch and it's golden brown. I've got my jam ready to put in it. I've got my icing sugar ready to sift on the top of the cake to make it look nice. And any other bits of equipment I need are just all here. So it's such a simple recipe. This is going to take about 3 minutes because all you have to do is put everything in the mixing bowl and whisk it till it's properly blended together. So I'll put my eggs in, my flour in, and just start off with the whisk on 1 so the flour doesn't go all over the place because this is very liquidy to start with. And it's good if your margarine is room temperature, so you can actually leave that out in the room when you bring your ingredients to school. You don't have to put the margarine in the fridge. And once it's looking blended, you can turn the speed up a bit. I've just got it on number 2 now, and now I'm putting it on 3, just to get all that flour blended in. And just make sure there are no lumps of margarine. Okay? And that's it. The cake mixture's done. Now when you're putting your whisk off, go to 2, go to 1. Just slightly lift it out of the batter and then switch it off so that the cake batter comes off. And then I'll just show you how to take the beater blades out of here. This is the release button, so hold on to them or they do go flying across the room, somebody's eye. So just hold on to them and pull them out, okay? And if you've got quite a lot of cake mixture on there, you can just scrape a bit of it off so that it's not wasted. If you think that you've got enough to make it worth scraping the beater blades. Okay, right? Okay, so here's my boiling water. Once you've got the cake mixture beaten, the last thing you do, this really makes a difference to help the cake rise. This is just a top tip that my technician gave me. I've never seen this in a cookbook. Because she makes such fantastic cakes, I asked her what her secret was. And this is what she told me. You just fold in 1 dessert spoon of boiling water once you've mixed the cake with the beater blades. It does make it go slightly more sloppy and liquidy, but it does seem to make a difference to the quality of the cake and it rises that little bit better. I think what it tends to do is it kind of activates the baking powder. Okay, there we go. So now let's just imagine our batter is in half and we put half into each tin. Okay, now to get your cake nice and smooth, we don't use a knife to spread the cake out, we use the back of the metal spoon and just swirl the spoon around like this so that the mixture begins to move into the sides of the tin. Don't spread it up the side of the tin because this mixture is going to spread out anyway when it cooks and it gets hot. It'll spread out a bit more. So it should just look like this. So just move the spoon around like this and it starts to spread it. This then goes in the oven for 18 to 20 minutes and after about 15 minutes, do check it. Look through the window rather than opening the oven. But if you think it's looking cooked and set, do the test by touching it with your finger to see if it springs back to the touch. Okay, now to get a good result, so both of the cakes look the same colour, I ask you to put them side by side on the same shelf. Don't put one above and below. It works better to put them on the same shelf. Okay, so we'll put that in the oven now and we'll come back later to see what it looks like. Okay, it's ready. Okay, Now, sometimes you do get the cake slightly going onto one side because unfortunately the ovens are not absolutely perfectly flat to the floor and they're at a slight angle, and sometimes the cakes do that. What I would suggest is look at which cake you think looks the best, because that's the one you should put as the top layer, that's the one that gets seen. And this one obviously is more even and flat, so I'm going to use that one as the top. Okay, so just with your knife, just loosen the cake carefully around the edges and slightly pull it towards you so that you are getting it out of the corner of the tin. So just very gently pull it towards you like this, and you can see it's nice and springy and it's springing back when I touch it. So just loosen it. I'm not going to turn it out of the tin immediately, because if you do that there is a risk of it breaking. So let it just cool a little bit in the tin before you flip it over. Okay, now I'll just go round now with the blunt side of that knife to make sure it's nice and loosened, which it is. Okay, I'll just do this one. Smells good, doesn't it? And of course we're going to get to eat this today as well. Okay, right. So I'll just leave those for a few minutes and then I'll turn them over. Okay, right, the cake's ready to turn over now. So I'm just going to put this one there, that's going to be my top. Put this one into the middle, and what I do just to make it easier is just lift this up towards the cake and just shake it a bit. You can bang it on there as well. And the tin's still quite hot, so be careful not to burn yourself. Okay. And then you need to peel your greaseproof paper off. I'll just move that over to the side now. It's really still quite hot, so if I am lifting that, I need to be very careful to support it with a palette knife. Okay, and let's just put our jam in. Let's put plenty of jam this time. I don't think there was enough jam in that Swiss roll yesterday. There were complaints. Can't we put more jam? Yeah, you can put more jam if you want to. And the fruit bits, the jam with fruit bits is tastier, I think. So, okay. So remember as well that you bring your ingredients down to the food tech room in the morning, and anything that's a high risk food, such as eggs, needs to be left in the fridge. But you can leave the rest of the ingredients at room temperature, just in your boxes that you bring it in. Okay, so there's that one done. Now let's get the other cake out. There we go. Now you see how I put it onto my hand? I've done that because it makes it a lot easier to flip it over, and then it doesn't end up with the imprint marks of the baking tray on the top of it. Okay, and then I'll just dust it now with the icing sugar before I put it on the top of the other cake. Okay, that's about enough. And then very carefully get your hand under and your palette knife to support it so the cake doesn't break, and get that on the top. Okay, there we go. Let's get this out of the way. And there's our finished cake.